home. And then we go home.
Wait, there's a horse coming. Okay, thank you. This happened last time when we come that way.
What's on that?
Right, folks, well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming along to our second display. And I have to say, I've had a fun couple of hours since I last saw you. If you were at my earlier show, you'll remember everything was going perfectly until I released my Falcon Sonnet, who disappeared off in that direction and then didn't reappear. Well, after the show, I had to go and find her, and she was sitting on a crow in the field at the bottom of where the big power line is, and she'd eaten the crow's head and she was covered from head to foot in blood. So I'm sorry about that, but sometimes when you do this for a job you have to expect the unexpected. And so, as I said in my earlier little announcement, old MacDonald had a crow, now he hasn't, because my Falcon ate it. Anyway, we're going to go back in time. We always start off by doing our little theme tunes bit. Black Beauty is my favourite. Come on, Amadeus, let's have a go. Canter. What's wrong with you today? He doesn't like this ground very much because it's really hard for a Frisian to canter. And he's also full of beans. He wants to have a good old buckaroo. It's not very nice, it's uneven and that's right. Get on, Amadeus. Now, one of my other favourites, apart from Black Beauty, was White Horses. In fact, this was my sister's favourite, really. And we used to dream about going off on our ponies on the beach at Southport, where I was brought up, having lovely summer days. This is long before the days of mobile phones. I'm going back to about 1974, 1975, when I was just a kid. And in the evenings we'd watch Horse of the Year show. Harvey Smith, David Broom, Caroline Bradley, they were the heroes. We used to watch them on BBC Two. And my mum would make a cup of tea, would get a load of rich tea biscuits and hobnobs and sit there and watch Horse of the Year show. The Puissance was always my favourite. All I wanted to do was ride horses. I was lucky enough, as I grew up, to get involved in show work and film work. You could hear Game of Thrones playing in the background while we were in Game of Thrones. Went out to Ireland a couple of years ago. For the stall holders who heard me tell this story 1,000 times, I apologise, but there will be people who don't know about this. So we went out to a place called Moneyglass in Northern Ireland and basically got dressed up as White Walkers, which are the zombies, and did sword fighting and came back from the dead and had a really good time being in Game of Thrones. It was great fun. Some of the other films that I've been involved in were A Knight's Tale, which was a good one, did a few years back. Lots and lots of others, Poldark, as well as lots of TV adverts and a few music videos and stuff. And it's not half as glamorous as it sounds, because there's a lot of hanging around waiting, and you might get 5 minutes if you're lucky, and then they might whittle it down to a couple of seconds. And when my kids say to me, "Hey Dad, which was the bit that you did?" I always say, "You know the really cool bits? That was me." But in actual fact, it's not as glamorous as you might think. The real joy of my job is working with horses and falcons. Despite Sonic being a bit of a pain in the backside today, causing me to climb over fences and scratch my legs to bits and get told off by a policeman for walking down the side of the M25, which actually happened. The fun part is getting to work with these lovely horses and falcons every day. Now, when I'm not at shows, I live in Cornwall, and every night, whether I've got a show or not, I take the birds out and fly them. That's the best bit, because I'm literally just enjoying being with the birds. And I have to say this, and this is no judgment on anybody watching, but actually I prefer animals to people. I find people quite weird, and in fact, every day people seem to get weirder and weirder, where animals, to me, seem to get more and more relatable. Because animals live in a world of honesty and truth and just normality. They're normal. My horse is normal, and it gives me a lot of, I don't know, comfort. This horse will respond to anybody if you're kind to him. He doesn't care how rich you are, he doesn't care which school you went to, what car you drive, how big your house is. He doesn't really care about any of that. All he really cares about is whether you're a nice person or not. And he responds to kindness. Now, we call it vibration, if you like, because you and me and the horse and the falcons, we're all receptors of frequency. And please don't think I'm some odd weirdo, but you and I and the bird and the horse are just an aspect of consciousness, and we're all the same. Whether you're a bird, a horse, a falcon, a tree, we're all living in the same reality. And the books which I've written in the last few months, I've written 3 books. One's called Spirit, the fastest bird in the world. I've written one called Amadeus, the story of the black horse. And I've just written the next one, which is called Amadeus and the Winter's Tale. And it's basically talking about that. The fact that we, you, me, and everything else, we're all here living in the same consciousness, the same reality. Some people call it God. I call it consciousness. Because there's no doubt that consciousness exists, otherwise we wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be able to see me, and you wouldn't be able to hear what I'm saying. So we know that we're conscious. So consciousness and nature is all the same thing. And that's what I think God is. And my horse tells me this every day. People say to me, "Are you a horse whisperer?" I say, "No, I'm a horse listener." Because if you listen to them, they don't speak in language, in words, but they do speak to you in their reaction to how you are. And I know that if I'm kind and gentle with Amadeus, he responds. Now, I've taught him to do a few tricks, and I'll show you a few of the things he does. He bows. I'll get him to bow to these kids here with the teddy bears. If I just tap on his leg, he'll bow like that. He'll say, "Oh, hello, you lot." And people think, "Well, that's quite flash." If I get him to, "Go on, Amadeus, go on over there." If I get him to come over this side, he'll rear, and he does a nice rear. Let's have a nice rear. Up, up, up. Whee. And all those are tricks which people find, quite amusing. But really, the real magic of this horse is just him being himself. Now, I'm going to introduce you to the falcon, which is why we've got a fanfare playing. Because the falcon is also a creature that lives in what I call reality. I mean the real reality. It lives in a realm of consciousness that you and I look at and go, "Well, that's right, that's how it should be." Now, earlier on, my falcon went off and killed a crow in front of, well, no one was watching because it was over there, but she didn't care the fact that we were at a show, because falcons don't live in the world that we live, where you've got a script and you have to stick to it. They just live in this kind of, "I'm going to do this because I'm a falcon." And it's the best reality of all, because it's very grounding. And that's why my story, Spirit, the fastest bird in the world, is actually quite a relevant story to where we are today. I'm talking about humanity. Because animals remind us every single day of what's real and what's not real. So my story, Spirit, the fastest bird in the world, is basically the story of a falcon and how it sees the world through the eyes of something that can't lie and can't manipulate, because it's a falcon. And she's very unapologetic about the fact that she eats pigeons or she eats ducks or crows, because that's what she's evolved to do over millions of years. So why we should feel a bit embarrassed that she is a meat eater is absolute ridiculous. And yet we're being sort of almost programmed to think that if you eat meat somehow or other, that makes you a bad person. Well, my falcon eats meat and she doesn't care what anybody thinks, because that's nature. So I'm going to fly her, and we're going to fly her while I'm riding Amadeus. Now, earlier on, she's already done one show, this falcon, so this is her second go today. So I'm actually asking her to do 2 lots of work, because the other bird, the one who went off and killed the crow, she won't want to fly for me now. She's eaten loads of crow. Whenever you're ready, Ron, we'll have the music playing. I need my trusty steed over here, Amadeus, who's busy walking around seeing if he can scrounge a few carrots off the customers. Come on, we're not ready for that. We've got to do our show. Everyone's waiting. Right. Hang on a sec, Amadeus. My microphone's fallen off. We're all at 6s and 7s. So I'm going to clip my microphone back on. I've got a hands-free horse at the moment.
She's perched on top of the Jungle Bug Challenge.
Oh, that's okay. Right. So what I'm going to try and get Duchess to do is chase the lure, which is the thing that I swing around. And at the very end, she's going to fly right through Amadeus's legs. Now, I have to say, Sonnet, who went off and killed the crow, is the best at this. She is a really fantastic flyer. So you're not really seeing me best bird today. Hopefully by tomorrow, she'll be ready to do her stuff. Okay, Duchess, whenever you're ready, let's see what you can do. Here she comes. Going over the top of the tent. And she's going to get a bit of lift first, a bit of height. And remember, when we're not at shows, when I'm just practicing at home, I do this every night. Nobody watching. And I have to say, I love doing it as well. And so do the birds. Let's see if we can get her to join in and chase the lure. Here she comes. Good girl, Duchess. Let's try and bring her all the way around. Come on, Amadeus. Now I'm going to get her to fly right through the horse's legs in a second. So you need your cameras ready, because you won't see it anywhere else. As far as I know, no one else does this display. I've never seen anyone else do it. It was something that I learned 20 years ago, and it worked. And so I've trained all my falcons to fly through the horse's legs ever since. And it's become our little party piece. Here we go, watch this. Here she comes. Once. Twice. The horse has to stay absolutely still while the falcon does this. 3 times. Come on, Duchess. Good girl. 4 times. Come on, Amadeus. Let's go over here so these people can see it. We'll get a couple more goes, and then we're going to let her have her food. Where is she? Took my eye off her. Here she comes. This time. Come on, Amadeus. Come on, Duchess. Through you go. One more. Last go, and then we're going to let you have it. You've done really well today. It's not been easy for you. She's had to double the amount of work. And as she catches this, she's going to land on the ground. Give her a big round of applause, because she's got me out of a hole today. Come on, Amadeus. Come on, Amadeus. Let's have a gallop all the way around here. Good lad. Come on in. He hates this ground. It's very, very uneven. And as a mark of respect, I'm going to get my horse just to bow to the falcon to say well done. One more bow. One more bow. Good boy, Amadeus. Okay. Now I'm going to leave the falcon where she is, and she can just enjoy herself. And she can eat a bit of food. And we always do this as part of my little display because, as I say, we do our training down on the beach in Cornwall, which is where I live. I'm not originally from Cornwall, but I live in Cornwall now. And I take Amadeus down to the beach and I just let him loose. People think, is that fella lost the plot? Why would you let your horse run loose on the beach? Well, it's because it's a lovely place to play. We go through the waves, we enjoy the feeling of the sea and the sun on our backs, and we just have a really nice time together. And Amadeus and me are going to show you. Go on, mate. Shh, go on. Go on, off you go. Go and have a good old run around. Go on in. Huff, 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 huff. He doesn't really want to canter on the ground here because it's very, very uneven. But isn't he beautiful? Now, Amadeus came to me about 5 years ago, and he came from a chap who basically had experienced a terrible tragedy, and Amadeus was redundant, and people thought he was a nasty horse because he's big. Come on in. And it didn't take long to break him in. And I hate the word breaking in, because to break something means that you sort of damage it. Well, I had to do the opposite with Amadeus. I had to repair him, I had to fix him. Come on in. Come on in. Do the Spanish walk for me. So how did I get a big stallion that everyone was scared of and get him to do this? Dead easy. One word, it's called love. I spent all my time with him and I made him my best friend, and he is my best friend. I trust this horse more than I trust any person in the world. I mean that. He's never once lied to me the whole time I've had him. He's always kind. He's always pleased to see me. He doesn't argue. He doesn't fend and prove. He doesn't frighten me. He doesn't tell me all the things I should be worried about. He just brings a lot of happiness into my life and to the life of everybody who meets him. And because of that, I've written a couple of books about him. The first one is called Amadeus, the Story of the Black Horse. The second one is Amadeus and the Winter's Tale, which will be out for Christmas. The Story of the Black Horse, I've got them with me if you'd like a copy. Let's get him to do his Tyson Fury. Ready? Hop, hop, hop. Oh, he does a really good left hook. See that? It's his left hook. He doesn't punch with his right, he punches with his left. Watch. Ready? Hey, hop, hop, hop. Oh, and one more, hop, hop. Yay, good boy. Now this isn't a trick. I'm giving him little rewards of carrot, of course I am, to encourage him. But he's free, he doesn't have to do it. Like the falcon's free. She could bugger off if she wanted to, pardon the expression. The horse could. But the reason they choose to do this is because we've got a friendship. And I love him. And I love my bird. And if we could learn something from animals, it's that kindness is the way forward. Isn't that right, Amadeus? I'm hoping you're going to come and meet him after the show, give him a bit of carrot, maybe buy his book. And we're going to be here again tomorrow, hopefully without catching crows. But for now, as he bows, I'd like you to give him a big round of applause. Hey, good boy. Yes. And I'd like to say thank you very much for being patient with us today when my bird went off and killed a crow. The very nature of my work, working with animals, means that you have to sometimes just go with the flow. And today everybody was very kind to me, and they didn't kind of give me a hard time for disappearing. But I am here right now. I'm going to be over by my stand. If you want to come and meet the horse and meet me and the birds, I'll be here for the rest of the evening. So from us, thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.